here from American Hammers, and to my left, or was that right? Right, is Liam. Say hello, Liam.
Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome
Well, me
back.
and Liam was meant to do an interview today, weren't we, Liam? And it was meant to be with Bubbles, but you have technical issues. So I'm sure Tim's going to try and get him on as soon as we possibly can. But me and Liam, we're just going to chat for about half hour to an hour.
Let's
Just
do it.
waffle on about what's been going on, all things West Ham.
Yes,
How
as
you
we
feeling
do.
today, Liam? You all good?
You know, I'm less pissed off than I was on Friday, but still anxious, waiting to see kind of where we go from here as a club. I am shutting myself off when it comes to the transfer rumors because absolutely nothing is concrete until they're holding up the shirt. I'm not believing a single thing that gets put across. I don't care if it's ITKs or not. It's not worth getting your back up about.
Exactly. And I've got a couple of things lined up for us to chat about with the transfers anyway.
Sure.
So, and they're all twists and turns, aren't there? So, but before we do, let's just talk about our website. Go to AmericanHammers.net. Go to our website, all the shows, go to our store. You can like us on Facebook, which I think I've already done, but we'll do it again. We've got the radio show. Have you listened to the radio show yet?
I host the radio show, my friend.
That was my little tedious link, you see.
Yeah.
So, as the show, how's the radio show going?
It's going well. It's going well. We just did the 21st episode, I want to say. So this is the third episode that Tex and I have hosted together. He's the host. I'm his co-host on the show. But it's been a blast. It's awesome since he lives here in Fresno with me. So we're both part of the Fresno Irons group. So it's easy for him to come in. We get to meet. We get to do a little pre-show, do a little chat, have a cup of tea. You know, all the good stuff is as one should have. And then we recently launched Fortune's Always Hiding, which is the second show on American Hammers Radio. And we're looking to launch another 5 before the end of the month. So make sure that you're subscribed. All of the podcasts will come through the American Hammers Radio podcast feed. So you only have to subscribe to one feed and you'll get access to all of those podcasts on your preferred listening device, whether it's Apple or Spotify or any of the veritable myriad of choices you have to listen to podcasts these days.
I see. Fantastic. Well, I definitely like listening to them. I'm joining the gym this week, so I'll definitely be listening to them whilst I'm doing a workout.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. This new website, I do love it. It's really good.
It's top notch, man. It's next level. I love it.
Yeah, brilliant. Also, I believe there's a little thank you to 1,000 subscribers for our YouTube page. So thank you very much. Well done, everyone. If you go to a Twitter page, you'll see on the 4th of January, there's a special prize giveaway, I believe Tim's doing. So just give it a like and a share. Try and get as many people as we can on board. I've liked it about 1 million times already. So yeah.
Hopefully you win. Hopefully you win, man. Yeah. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah. Tim be like, nah, sod that. Ray, you can't win.
It's a good try. He was like, good try, man.
Yeah. So, Liam, tell me about your thoughts on the game the other day.
So, I thought the first half was fairly uneventful. I only got to catch snippets of it because I was still getting the wife and the kids ready. It was, once we caught into the second half. I should say first off with the first half, obviously the injury to Fabianski was devastating, but not wholly unexpected. I do feel like we kind of rushed him back into the first team, especially after Martin was injured, knowing that Roberto really wasn't going to be even a short-term solution. So it was unfortunate, but as I said, not unexpected. Martin obviously coming in, he had the gaffe in the second half where he mislaid a pass to Balbuena. Balbuena's cutting to the right. The pass catches him off to the left. Obviously, Sheffield pounces on it and they get the goal. I thought it was still our game to win at that point. I really didn't feel like Sheffield was putting on a clinic on us. I actually think that they performed better against us on the 1-1 draw at London Stadium. So I was really surprised that we weren't able to get a win out of this one, or even get the draw. The offside against Allaire was, I mean, let's be honest, it wasn't offside, but if you actually look at his feet, they're in line with the defense. It's just his upper body which has gone offside. So letter of the law, the way that it is now, obviously, yeah, that is still going to be an offside. I still think it's odd. I mean, unless he scores with his head on that one, it's not an offside. I mean, it's not an advantage. It is an offside. It's not an advantage. And then with the Snodgrass goal that's chalked off because of the handball to Declan was, I mean, we were, oh my God, dude, we were all limbs in the pub where we were like, we were losing our shit. And then when it got called back, it was just, I mean, we were crushed. Like, it was super quiet in the pub after that. Like, everybody was just, handshakes, and we'll see you next week. How about you, man? What'd you think?
Yeah, pretty much same. Like, to do the Fabianski going down injured, a lot of people have said online that it's all Pellegrini's fault, and what's his name, for bringing him back too early. But I just don't think he had a choice, really.
No.
Who else was he going to bring in? He had to bring Fabianski back so early because we had no other choice. Well, literally, it was either that or one of the youth players.
And it's strange to me, though, like, if you knew there was a possibility that he could get re-injured trying to do the long ball, like, why not have one of the center backs come back and hit it? Like, you could have Balbuena, you could have Ogbonna step back, they could hit the long ball, move back into the position, and that way you're eliminating the potential for him to get injured in exactly the same way that he had done it the first time.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And defenders do that in the past just to, like, not take any risks, basically.
Yeah. No, especially knowing it was there, knowing the potential was there.
Yeah, totally agree. So, yeah, again, the first half was very uneventful. Nothing really, pretty even. We didn't even have a shot on target or even a proper shot until the second half, did we?
Yeah.
So, as for the goal that we conceded, Martins, it's just one of them. It's every goalkeeper has a mistake in them. And it's his first mistake, so, okay.
Yeah.
We'll give you a little pass. We're not expecting fantastic things from Martins, are we? He's our third choice keeper. He was the training ground keeper.
Right.
So, if he makes that one mistake all season, then I think we've done really well with that.
100%. Well, that and it's the issue I still have is when you look at a team like Sheffield United, on paper, we beat them every day of the week. There's literally no reason why we shouldn't have been able to take the game to them and to allow a mistake like that to define the win when easily we should have been up, 2-1, 2-0, 3. I mean, there, especially in that second half where, Anderson had a sitter, Lanzini had a sitter. I mean, there was multiple opportunities we had to put that game away. And you can't tell me, looking at the performance against Bournemouth, that we couldn't have replicated that with this lineup against Sheffield. It's just, I think we got in our own heads. I don't think the substitutions were as impactful as we needed them to be. I mean, obviously with Snodgrass with the chalked off goal was great, but I think you could put anybody in that position, they would have scored. Like once Declan laid the ball off, whoever was cutting in from that right-hand side was going to be able to put that ball in the back of the net. So to me, it was less a Snodgrass and it was more of a Declan putting himself in the proper position to score or to have the assist.
Yeah, totally agree. But just before that, Lanzini had the opportunity when he was just on the left-hand side, shot it straight at the keeper, and the keeper saved it. My worry is, like, why did he not just pass the ball simply to Allaire for him just to knock it in?
He's wide open in the center. The defender is easily 5 steps behind him. It's plenty of time, and especially with Allaire, he excels at like that toe poke. So you put that pass, he's probably going to one touch slide it right past the keeper. There's I don't know why Lanzini's not looking to the center. Why are you not looking for your center forward to play the ball? Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if they're just not, Lanzini and Allaire just haven't had enough time on the field together to build that chemistry. But then at that point, is that really Allaire's fault that Lanzini doesn't see the pass?
Well, yeah. I was going to say this because, like, in the last game, Allaire passed it to Anderson, when we got our goal for the last time, when Lanzini was clear open the other time. So
Yeah.
definitely don't think there's definitely got to be something going on between them two there, because they're not gelling or they're not communicating. I don't know if it's a case of like Lanzini's being a bit greedy because he's trying so hard to get his first goal.
Yeah.
I want to cheer with the fans and everything else when he's not really thinking about the team.
Yeah.
Been a couple of times where he's been a bit selfish.
Yep. I agree.
So, and I do not understand what took so long to get Fornals on that pitch.
No, agreed. It was, especially with a player that has shown consistent improvement game after game. I mean, he scores the go-ahead goal in the Gillingham game. So why do you not start him, or at least bring him on earlier than a cameo? He got brought in at what, the 82nd minute, 83rd minute? I mean, that's how do you expect a player like that to be able to make an impact in such a small amount of time? Those adjustments should have been made closer to the 60th minute. As soon as second half started and Moyes saw that the game was pretty much going the same way that it had been, he needed to change things up. He needed to start making those substitutions earlier. I think he pulled a Pellegrini. He waited far too long, and the choices that he left on the bench were not the game changers that we probably needed.
Yeah. And with his tacticals to start off with, I didn't think it was like he was playing for a draw. You can see that
he was.
You can see it all the time. That he was definitely playing for a draw. I think the only personnel I would have changed was Lanzini with Fornals to the start, because Fornals is the informed player.
Yeah.
All right, Lanzini is the older journeyman who Moyes really loves and does produce magic, but he's not producing that right now. Fornals is doing everything that is being thrown at him. So, have him start and bring Lanzini on as a sub, which is what I think should have been. But hindsight's 2020, I guess.
But do you think so think about it this way though. The Bournemouth game, we line up in a 4-4-1-1, right? Absolutely decimate Bournemouth. I mean, obviously each team's going to play different tactics, so what it works for one against one team isn't always going to work the same. Then we play a 3-5-2. Against Gillingham, struggles with it, right? Because it's not a formation that this team has utilized so far this season. But a couple of these guys were under Moyes when he had taken charge after Bilic. So for some of them, they should be like your Noble, like Mark Noble, Cresswell. Like there's certain guys, Ogbonna, that they've been there for a couple of years. They know how to slot into certain formations. So if he's not going to play the 3-5-2. Which I think would have been better against Sheffield United, because I think we would have been able to overpower them on the wings, and we would have forced them to have to play through the middle, and we would have had Declan, we would have had Noble, which, I mean, fair shout, Noble was a little bit absent in this game, or at least
I know.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't make any glaring mistakes for me, so it wasn't like, there were a lot of people on Twitter that were shouting like, oh, the game's passed him by, pull him off the pitch, why is he still a starter? And it's like, no, it's when Noble has a bad game, I'll call him on it, right? But when when he's just there, he didn't make any key passes. There wasn't some like monster tackle that he made to save the day, but he was consistent. There wasn't anything that I looked at Noble and was like, oh, he messed that up, he jacked that up, So I think there's a lot of pressure gets put on him because he can be a game changer, and when he's not, everybody gets their back up,
Yeah, he did put quite a few passes astray, didn't he?
I think everybody did, though. Everybody was playing it was messy. I kept turning to Kyle, the co-host for American Hammers Radio, and I was saying, dude, it's so messy right now. Nobody's playing a clean pass. Anybody was trying to play a pass out to the wings, they were putting the ball behind the runner. So nobody was leading them in behind that back line, which was bizarre because we did it so well against not just Bournemouth, but against Gillingham as well. Like the Masuaku Anderson back and forth on that left-hand side. I mean, that's how we got the first goal, because Masuaku, Anderson does a 1-2, plays a fast pass for Masuaku, who crosses it. Zabaleta gets the smash. So it's bizarre to me that it doesn't feel like we're building on the success that we have. I feel like Moyes is still trying to figure out his starting 11 and what his preferred formation is going to be.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And I do like the fact that we are trying different things where, under Pellegrini, we were doing the same formation week in, week out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Personnel might change, but it was the same formation in a. And I quite like when teams play different tactics for different games, because that actually shows that you're actually studying what the others are doing. You're studying what your team can do, and you're trying new things. And it's not going to be 100% all the time. And I think a lot of West Ham fans are not expecting it to. And if we can see that we're trying something, a lot of fans would be like, "Oh, let's try and something new. This is interesting.
Yeah.
What's going on?" All right. Mistakes that Moyes made was not changing it earlier in the game. Get more effective later on, because all right, this is not really working. All right, let's not wait until the 80th minute to make any changes with formation, or even the 90th minute, the 84th minute, whenever Fornals come on, to try and change the dynamics of games. When you're losing 1-0, okay, it was a simple mistake, but we should be trying to get that goal back at least.
Yeah.
And that's just my views on it. As for Declan's pass or his handball, what can you do? You can't run with your hands behind your back, can you?
No, and this is the third goal we've had chalked off because of the handball rule, right? Because you think about the one, was because there were two of them for Antonio, right? Where who were we playing? Where it's up against the post, bounces off the post, off Antonio's arm to his chest, and he basically chests the ball in. Nothing you can do. The ball bounces off the post first. He can't let me move my arm out of the way. And then same thing with the other one where he's running. And yeah, there's a little bit more of a shout for that because he kind of straightens his arm as he runs. So you can kind of see okay, maybe that's could be viewed as unnatural on the run up. But with this one, like you said, man, he can't run with his arms behind his back. There's literally nothing you do. People run like this. There's nothing you do. It bounces off the player's head into his arm. It's tough because I know the rule change happened this year. So, if you're looking at the letter of the law, but if you also look right below that, it says it's going to be to the discretion because there's not always going to be times where the player can move out of the way. For fans of the men's national team here in the States, that happened to DeAndre Yedlin, where I want to say it was against Mexico. The attacker gets over onto our right hand side, goes to cross the ball in. Yedlin turns his back, but as he turns his back, he has his arm like this, where it's tucked up. But because the ball goes off his arm, and they say that's an unnatural position, they called a pen for it, and it's killing the game. Let's be honest, not just from a heartbreaking standpoint where you've just celebrated a goal that's then been chalked off, but now it's literally everybody's going to have to wait until the ref points to that center circle. Nobody's going to be able to celebrate a goal. Not anybody in the stands, not the players on the field. Is that really what you want for this game? Is that really where you want to see the game heading? Because that's what's going to kill the emotion. It's going to kill that immediate sense of passion that fans are going to have while they're out on the field.
Yeah, and the technology is too slow at this stage. It's it's taking far too long. Like with Hawkeye, for tennis, you can see it on the screen and it's pretty much straight away, and you kind of know if it's a point or not. And then there's that whole ooh. So the technology's definitely got to speed up, or they've got to do something where the referee goes view it on the sidelines. Again, I still think that will take too long because that's 5 minutes out of the game, Well,
and it's supposed to be clear and obvious error, right? You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing is they're utilizing it for millimeters at this point. When you're drawing lines from somebody's heel and somebody's armpit, that's not a clear and obvious error. If you're taking away the authority from a linesman. At this point, we don't need him. You don't need a linesman. All you need basically is the center field ref to call it so you can run over to the VAR screen to call whatever it is. And even at that point, why don't you just have the people in the booth making the decisions? They can shout. Why are they shouting possible handball? Just all they need to say is handball, no goal. And then that's what's going to kill this time lapse, because like you said, it is this 2-minute, 3-minute holdback. And I think that's what's killing it, is because you've already celebrated. Now 2-3 minutes later, you're pulling it back. And then by that point, we were already 93 minutes in. That gives us no time to try to get back up the field. to make up for what was eventually called a handball.
Yeah, and when it's something like that so late in the game, like you can just see the players just like, well, there's no point.
Yeah. Now what? What are we gonna do? Like if we're defeated, how do you think they feel? Like Declan's post match interview was, I mean, you could just tell he was gutted. He was absolutely gutted for that, and I can't blame him. I can't blame him.
And he just didn't understand. Again, he's like, the players hate it. They don't like it.
He did not pull punches. He just straight out was like, at this point, I don't think anybody likes it. And you're like, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Wrong. A lot of players are like, no. And then a couple of players are like, well, I don't want to get fined from the FA, so I won't badmouth it yet.
Which isn't that bizarre? Like, you're not allowed to have an opinion. Like, exactly. I don't get it. Does the FA pay their wages? No, the club pays their wages. So unless the club is going to fine that player for speaking out, I don't think it's up to the FA. I think they need to keep their hands off when it comes to that. Allow the players to be critical, because that's the only way you improve. If you silence people, there's no growth. There's no ability to take a look at what you're doing right, take a look at what you're doing wrong, and try to address the necessary issues. If you want everybody to just be a good little soldier, I mean, that's not the football I want to watch. I'm sorry.
No. It's the same with the players getting fined for having their poppies on their jersey last season. That's ridiculous. It's a national thing. Like you got to let things like that slide.
Right. Look. As an Irishman, maybe I have a differing opinion about the poppies, but it's not. It's not my say, because I'm not the FA. So I mean, it's, at the end of the day, you're 100% right, man. Are we going to get to the point where they're not allowed to wear black bands because a player's passing, or to honor a certain event? It's just it's too controlled. No one's allowed to have an opinion. You can't have a differing opinion. God forbid anybody disagrees with one another anymore. It's like we all have to just be happy-go-lucky. You can't clap. You got to jazz hands now. So it's getting too much, man. It's getting to be too much.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. What did you think of Zabaleta's performance throughout the game?
I don't put a lot of expectation on Zabaleta. I mean, I do think he brings experience to the field, which is a good thing. But let's be honest, if you've got a good captain in Mark Noble, do you really need like a lot of strong veteran presence all over the place? Because then at that point, don't you get conflicting direction? That maybe Mark's shouting for people to do one thing, Pablo's calling people to do something else. Like, it's just, that can lead to some miscommunication. I think there were multiple times that they just got in behind him too easily. And it pulls Balbuena out of position when he has to go and try to cover that runner. And you could kind of see they knew once you'd gotten past Zabaleta, the runners in the middle of the park knew that Balbuena, the center backs, were going to get split. So you're leaving that runner wide open. Luckily, Sheffield wasn't able to capitalize on it. I mean, you could just see that was. I was waiting for a goal to come from that position. Let's put it that way. I actually, once we knew Fredericks was going to be out for several weeks, I fully expected Moyes to go with a back three. And then that way he would have more cover in that center of the park. And I expected him to keep Cresswell on the left and actually shift Masuaku over on the right-hand side. Like, Masuaku's not the best when it comes to defending, but he does have pace, and he is still going to give us an attacking presence on that overlap. With Zabaleta, he just can't get caught that far up the field. So if he's trying to do an overlap on that right-hand side, we're completely exposed. And if we try to do another 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1, against Everton, we're going to get battered. We absolutely need to go with a back three until Fredericks is properly healthy and can be brought back, or unless we bring somebody in the transfer window.
Yeah, totally agree. We need to look at different options. I don't know how much space we've got left in our squad to bring in new foreign players or new English players. There's only a certain amount of people that can register. As for Zabaleta, it is like Zabaleta has had a great career. He's done really well. Even when he's come to West Ham, he's been a journeyman. I think he's helped out in back areas and stuff like that. And I would like to, keep learning for Ben Johnson. Go see Zabaleta, go learn off him, etc., etc. But this has got to be his final season, really, for West Ham as a
It
player.
has to be. It has to be. And it's not that he hasn't been a good servant for the club. He easily could have come here and just tried to collect a paycheck, but he puts in a shift every time he hits the field. I mean, even when he got completely overrun by what's his name?
Maximus for Newcastle.
Yeah, when he got completely overrun, I mean, he still tried. Like, there wasn't a point where he would just give up. And I think sometimes that's the thing that bugs me about Fredericks is he'll go to run, but then if he realizes, well, I'm too many steps behind him, I'll let the center backs handle it. And it's like, no, man, like you got to continue that run. I said on our show on American Hammers Radio that before he injured his hamstring in the Gillingham game, you can see Fredericks gets knocked over and he's on his knees and he puts his arms up trying to get a shout for a pen or for a foul. And that's what put him 5-6 steps behind the defender. So as he's trying to run to catch up, it's why he pulls the hamstring. Whereas if he had just immediately jumped back up and started making that run, he probably wouldn't have had to push as hard and probably wouldn't have injured himself. So as long as we're not trying to be Robbie Keane all over the field, just laying on the ground shouting for a foul, like these guys got to play to the whistle. Like if you don't hear that whistle, get your ass off the ground and go run. Like that's what you're paid to do. And Zabaleta does that. He doesn't sit there waiting for the foul. He gets back up. So yeah, I think he does need to be given a position in the club. I would love to keep him. I think his experience is invaluable. I think his passion for the club, where easily he could have just said like, nah, whatever. I'm here to finish out my last couple of years. But yeah, I think there's a lot of experience that younger fullbacks can learn from right and left hand side. So I'm with you. I think Ben Johnson would be well served under his tutelage.
Yeah. That's if he wants to stay around or whether he wants to head back home.
True.
Just don't know. But good luck with him. But it's definitely got to be his end of the season.
Yeah, I would think so. And I would hope with Moyes looking at, hopefully survive, touch wood. Hopefully we survive the latter half of this season, but really looking into the 2020-2021 season, he needs to start bringing in young talent. It needs to be, if he expects to continue his contract past this next year, he needs to develop a squad year one to make sure that he can continue to have that success year over year. There's nothing to be said that we can't be what Everton was underneath his managerial experience. Like we should always be finishing top half of the table. If we could finish top 8 consistently, why not? And if we're going to back Moyes the way that we should, I'm here for that. I'm here to be a top 8 finisher perennially. I'm good with that.
Yeah, definitely agree. Some worrying things about Haller coming throughout the game. Yes. You see him getting very, 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 very frustrated.
It's tough too because he drops back so far. Like it's worrying because it's like Arnautovic where he'll drop back, but he doesn't have the same pace that Arnautovic has, and to some degree he doesn't have the luck. If that makes any sense, it's not a strike against his technical ability because I think technically he is actually a very, very good player, but he's just unlucky, man. Like the ball just doesn't fall his way. It'll get caught up underneath his feet. Like it's just, he'll go to make the run and like leave the ball behind him. I know. It's a weird thing. I don't know what the deal is with him. Maybe it is the frustration and that's what's causing him to be a little unlucky with it, but I don't know, man. He's not that 40 million pound striker. Let's be honest. He has not earned 40 million in my eyes.
No, his value's definitely dropped. And I don't know if it's a case that his value's dropped because we're not playing to his strengths or,
right.
You can look at some of the crosses that are trying to come in the box. There's just see him, they hit the first person and you can just see his arms going, what? So I can understand his frustrations and some of the link-up play because he has got a decent finish.
He does, and as I said, he does that little like sliding toe poke, and just nicks it past the keeper. I love it, and he's still trying to get adjusted to the offside trap because I just don't think he was used to that in the Bundesliga because so many British teams really do play with that high line or with that straight back line. To try to catch those strikers, and he's just not as good as reading the play as some of the previous strikers that we've had. I think actually Chicharito was really good at reading that play. I think Arnautovic killed it. I think so many of his goals came from being able to beat that offside trap and just battling, like being able to battle center backs. And I think with Hilaire, maybe he's used to a little more protection from the ref. Like he's used to, oh, I went down, I should get a foul, and it's just not happening for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he telegraphs it too much when he tries to go down. I don't know.
Yeah, Wally just made a good point. That header that he had from Snodgrass's free kick, he should have got that on target at least. Hitting it down
100%.
the floor. Yeah, it was a dreadful header. Dreadful header.
And for a dude that tall, I would expect like 50% of his goals to be from headers. You know what I mean? Like why is it that it always has to be a ball across the deck is the only way that he puts it in the back? I mean, let's be fair. The Bournemouth goal, that like scissored volley was pristine. That was just so well executed. I don't know why we don't see more of that. Even if it's not in the back of the net, there should at least be the chances.
Oh, cheers, Ben, for our £7. That will pay for our coffees. Maybe even some chocolate.
I love it.
Yeah. While we're there, just saying hello to everyone. Penny's in the chat. Wally's in the plat. Neil, as always. Kent Hammers. Ben.
Yeah.
My mate Baz is in there with a dodgy photo of me. Somehow. Cheers, Baz. Always a good one. Who else we got in there? I think I saw Tim here earlier, but he's probably gone now. But yeah. Let's go on to, and X has put an update on Antonio. Apparently, he will be back and fit, ready for the Everton game.
Nice. We need it.
Yeah. So that is really interesting, really good news. Whether he's good enough to start, or not good enough, but whether he's fit enough and ready to start, or maybe come on as a super sub. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so this is where it gets kind of tough for me because I loved the pairing of Anderson and Hilaire in the Bournemouth game. I actually thought that worked better to Anderson's ability. I know he's been shuttled to the wing for much of his West Ham career, but I actually really like that 4-4-1-1. So, I think Kent Hammers had said in the chat, like, we really can't play with that back four with Zabaleta. I 100% agree. So I think that if you're going to go maybe like a 3-4-3 is what I'm thinking, where you still have the wing backs, right? You still have Cresswell on the left. You have Masuaku on the right. You've got, I call it an empty bucket with that middle four where you've got you've got Noble and Rice sitting in front of the center backs. And then, as one of them moves forward, the other one covers in the back. I would prefer Noble probably to push up and have Declan kind of hang back because of his defensive acumen. But then at that top three, I actually put Anderson in the middle, right? But that's not to expect Anderson to actually play up. I actually expect him to play more of like a number 10 role. And then you have Antonio and you have Hilaire playing up top. Maybe Hilaire plays more of that center position because Antonio actually likes to cut in from the wing. Antonio's not really teed up to be that lone center striker, but he does cut in really well from the side of the 18-yard box. And I think that will assist in dragging the center backs off of Hilaire. Because then at that point, Hilaire can battle one-on-one with a center back. But I think when he's trying to take on two is where he gets frustrated, he gets overrun. And if anything, it's going to pull one of the center backs up to try to deal with Anderson because he'll be that additional threat going forward. So if you look at that with that front three, and you have Cresswell and Masuaku cutting in on the overlap as well, I think defensively that still gives us a back five. That still gives us five up in the top. That's going to give us bodies in the box, and ultimately that's what we need to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, totally agree with you. For me, I think we need Antonio on the pitch to start off, but I actually feel like we need to sell him. I feel like we need to make the most money we possibly can out of him. And this is probably going to be the only transfer window is where we're going to get our maximum from. In the summer, we're not going to get our maximum value for him. We're only going to get maximum because the teams down at the bottom need someone like Antonio
to help
him out.
Yeah.
To
help him stay up.
Yeah. With next season, I think it's another 100 million or 150 million coming back into the kitty for each team. They've got to some of the junior clubs have got to get that. So
Yeah.
otherwise they're going to go bust going down, or they're going to struggle going back down, aren't they? So I don't see Norwich getting out of the bottom three, but someone like Aston Villa, Bournemouth even, they're really struggling for pace up front, and they need that extra player. We probably need him ourselves, like if we don't get the right personnel in.
And
I
think that's what I was going to say. I think that's what catches us off guard, though, because until we have solid recruitment tactics, like a director of football that is solid, that understands the game plan, that it's not just about bringing in big names or flashy players. It has to be players that are going to work in Moyes' system. So whatever it is that Moyes is trying to affect, and like as he said, he wants young attacking talent. He says in the short term, maybe we do have to bring in a couple of journeymen, a couple of veteran players, just to bring some more experience on the field. But if the game plan is to bring in young, exciting attacking talent to play the West Ham way, which we all know is supposed to be attacking, attractive football, then and I'm sure we'll get into it with the Getz and Fernandez. Like these are the type of players we need to bring on. These are the type of young, interesting, hungry players, people that are going to want to play for West Ham. It's not just it's a London club, or hey, it's a club that's willing to pay wages. Like it needs to be talent that is going to drive us in the right direction. I think with Antonio, he's 29, right? Like, I mean, he's getting to those years that, he's probably not going to be that player that we need going forward because he's injury prone. Yes, when he is on the field, he battles. He works for every ball that's on there, even when he's dog ass tired. But is that really the player we want? That guy that, he's good for maybe half the games in the season. No, I need somebody that's going to be here week in, week out.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there is some stuff to discuss on Fernando in a bit. Let's go to Liam. As you were saying off air, you hate the transfer window because
it fucking drives me crazy, man. Like, I think back to the days where literally the only time you heard anything was when there was a picture posted and they're holding the kit, shaking hands with the manager. Or there's the little press conference. Oh, we're so excited to bring so and so in. Like, look at what they're gonna do. Like, it's frustrating because you have one hand where we want to know what they're looking for, right? We want to know that they are looking for young talent, to know that the club has a vision, that they know that they're actually listening to the fan base and they want to see them move forward. But at the same time, then you have that other side that comes in and they're shouting at the ITKs saying, "Oh, well, you're giving away our tactics, and other clubs are coming in and swooping in and stealing these players." It's like, do you know how this works? These agents are pimping these players out to literally any club that they think that they're going to get a fair shake at, because at the end of the day, the agents are going to get a cut. So if we're offering a player £100,000 a week and Tottenham's offering him £150,000, guess what? The agent is going to push him towards Tottenham because the agent gets a better percentage cut. He doesn't give a shit what club is going to be a better fit for his player. He's thinking about what's that coin that's going to be in his back pocket at the end of the transfer window. That's how these guys make their money. They're going to tell the player, like, "Oh yeah, this club is a better fit for you. You're going to get first team minutes, blah, 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 blah." But it's all about the money. At the end of the day, they're going to pad their pockets. They're going to send them where the money's at. And we all know Sullivan is not going to open those coin purses. We got to get Brady to give him a handy or something to loosen up his freaking nerves. So only way we're going to get that coin purse opened up. They're penny pinching, man, and it's killing us.
So with that, you've got this the Randolph saga going on. Apparently he's still injured, so I don't know why we're trying to get him,
and it's the same injury. It's the same injury.
Do we get a discount at the NHS or something? 3 for 1 or something?
We need to. At this point, there's got to be some sort of kickback, man. We got to get. We're sending these players to the medics at this point. Like we might as well have them all on a morphine drip. What's going on?
Yeah, buy one injured keeper, get 2 free. That's why it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it actually says in here that apparently we are looking at the Bournemouth keeper. Where is it? What's the? Yeah, so we're looking at Bournemouth Begovic for a potential replacement on this one. However, on the next slide, we've got apparently he's going off to Italy.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so that's your transfer rumors in a nutshell. Is that one stage we're going for Randolph, next we're going for Bournemouth keeper, next we hear he's in the next Italian league potentially. So what do you make of that? What do you think of the Randolph transfer situation? First of all,
I mean, I think it's the agents are going to talk to any news avenue to try to get information out there, because if it felt like we were in on Randolph, but now all of a sudden it looks like an Italian team's going to come in and swoop him, it tries to put pressure on us to up the deal, right? Because what we're trying to get from Middlesbrough is, apparently it came out that they still owe us money on that Randolph deal, so it's not actually the £4 million, because I think they still owe us like two, because it was basically like they were going to pay some money up front and then they were going to make installments, and they haven't made any of the installments yet. So I get it. We're not going to spend as much money on a keeper that's played for West Ham before. He has come out and said that he does prefer to come back to West Ham. So, I'd love a keeper that actually does want to be here, but we also have that in Lucas Fabianski and David Martin. So, do we really need Randolph? Because is Martin's that bad that we have to push him back to a third tier keeper? And if not, do we really need Randolph as a third tier if David's going to be our number two? I don't know. I said it a couple of weeks ago on Weekend Review. If we're going to bring in a keeper, I want somebody that's a top level enough that they're going to challenge Fabianski for first team minutes. I don't need somebody that's going to come in just to be a second rate keeper. I need somebody that is going to try to push Fabianski to be even better than he already is, because he knows that we have a solid replacement on the bench. And Fabianski's what, 34, 35? I mean, he's only got a couple years left in him. So I'd rather see, if we're not going to bring up our academy players like Nathan Trott and was it David Anang? I can't think of his first name. Anang. So if we're not going to bring in either of those guys because we're not looking at them as viable first team players, then what are we doing with this academy? Why are we not bringing in players that are going to be able to move up into the first team?
Yeah, and it's a case of it's a cut. Might be 1 or 2 seasons too early for them, and they need to go out. Definitely for Anand, from what I've heard about him, he's a good loan. And Nathan Trott is probably maybe 1 championship away loan spell, maybe 2, maybe.
Yeah.
To give him that experience, and hopefully he joins a mid team in the championship next season on loan, and then the year after, someone that's actually pushing for promotion would be ideal for him. Just like what's his name, who's out on loan at West Brom at the moment?
Grady Diangana.
Yeah, Diangana. So hopefully he gets that experience. But we definitely, hopefully, on Monday they said they're going to relook at the injury record and whatever for Fabianski and that. And if he's out for a long time, there's no way we can go in for what's his name, because you can't have another keeper injured. We need to get someone that's fit, ready to go, and is good enough to go in goal now. And we might spend a little bit more on that, and we may have to not go for a striker. We definitely need a midfielder. You can see that straight away.
Right.
But they've got to open the purse strings and definitely go for a top quality goalkeeper.
There's something to be said. Matt Howard says it in the chat there, that we're not going to get quality players or managers because of the owners. And I wonder if there is a fair shout to that because our reputation precedes us, and certain players are like, well, I don't want to play underneath this board. I don't want to play under this manager, or managers don't want to come to this club because they don't feel like they'll be given the proper money to be able to develop the squad that they want.
Yeah. It might be the case. Everyone has said, you can see in mile off that they're doing the least that they can do before they sell up. But apparently they want to move on to. Oh, you've gone all black, Liam. There we go.
There we go.
But there is things saying that they're going to pass it on to the kids. So who knows?
But do you really think that even for them that they will have the knowledge? I mean, all they know right now is how not to run a football club, because all they have to do is watch to see what their parents are doing, and they know, well, just won't do anything like that.
Well, that's some of the best training. You never learn by your success, you learn by your mistakes. And maybe they're learning from the old man's mistakes. I don't know.
Right?
Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. We'll soon find out at some point, 10 years down the line. The Fernandez deal taking a twist. So you were saying about the agent. This agent
Yeah.
that was at the deal for West Ham has turned up his ass because another agent's pushing for the Tottenham deal. How crazy is that? I've never heard.
What the hell?
Yeah. So literally, another agent's pushing towards the Tottenham deal. His original agent is pushing towards the West Ham deal. So do they have?
Right.
So they must have multiple people working for them to get them different deals or something.
Well, I wonder if it is he's with one agent and there's another agent that's trying to swoop in, going, okay, well, your agent was trying to push West Ham at this type of money. I can get you this money if we go with Tottenham. That's why you should sign with me. And I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know exactly how it works in the footballing world when it comes to agents, but I know from my time in the music business, the way that agents work on our end, right? And a lot of the times, certain agents utilize handshake deals. They utilize certain percentages, and then the percentages go up if they're able to get you better deals. Whether it's a booking agent, whether it's a like a tour manager, like certain agents work at certain deals. So there is that possibility where he has the deal that he has with his current agent has that flexibility, has a bit of an opening. The new agent knows that, and they're trying to show him, look, if you go with me, this is the deal I can get you. So who knows? And at that point, all we know from Gedson is that like his mom lives in London, so he's preferring a London club because there were talks that like Everton or Liverpool were going to try to swoop in on him, but obviously that's other side of the country. He's not trying to go on the Western Front, so I can definitely see whether it's Tottenham or whether it's Chelsea, because I think those were the other two big names that were coming in. I don't think Arsenal got added to that mix. So I see it. I can see where a bunch of the different London clubs are trying to at least show interest in him and try to gauge it. I heard that he had sent a message to, was it Diop? That was like on my way or coming soon.
So the youth striker Silva.
There you go. Yeah,
he sent a message on Instagram saying that he's gonna see him soon. Doesn't necessarily say that he's gonna be joining West Ham.
I'll see you in London.
Yeah,
yeah,
which could be the case. But does he want to go join a successful club like Tottenham, who's going to pay him a bit more in wages, or under Mourinho, or is he going to join a relegation fight team? Again, it's all to do with his parent club and what they want to do, because whoever gives them the most money at the end of it is probably what they're going to go with, aren't they?
Well, and you would think that for the club, especially with what had come out with the deal that was potentially getting done with us, is that there was no option to buy at the end. That basically it was going to be an 18-month loan spell. If we help develop him into that 60 million pounds player, he goes back to the club. They get the benefit of, hey, we didn't have to worry about his development, but we get the benefit in the back end, which, people were kind of upset about. But you think about Grady Dingana, that's essentially what he's doing. West Brom's doing all the work, giving him first team minutes, helping to develop him, give him the time to be able to come back to us, and we don't have to spend that money. We're literally getting paid to let somebody else do this kid's development. So I think people forget, like, teams do this all the time. This is not something new. My concern is if there isn't that option to buy clause, is that what is turning off the parent club from looking at us as the viable option?
I also read, and again, this is all what happens in a transfer. After that, it come out that it was there was an option to buy in there, and it was 33.5 million. I think it was the option after the 18th month contract.
That's not bad, especially if he proves himself. You know what I mean? Yeah. Over the next 18 months, if he becomes regular first team starter, 33 million. I mean, we need to get past this. Whoa, we broke the transfer market for us at 45 million pounds. It's like, that's it. I mean, I know it didn't work out for them, but who was it? Was it Arsenal that signed? Why am I blanking on the name? They signed that Sanchez player for like 220 million or something like that, or 120 million. Like, I get it. we're probably never going to be that team, but why not? Like, why can't we be dropping 70 million pounds on a player that we know is proven, that we know is going to help take us to this next level? We're sitting here wondering why, right backs on a free transfer are not getting the job done. Like, I don't know, man.
I think it all depends. He should look at how much game time he's possibly going to get at the team. And I think they get more game plan at West Ham to develop his career.
100%.
And playing alongside an international like Declan Rice is only going to be beneficial for him.
Yeah. And it helps us skew towards a younger first team. And I think that's what we need.
Massively. Yeah, because it does worry me at the end of the season. I think there's going to be like 6-7 players that are part of our first team squad, if not a part of our first team, that are over the age of 30, 31, that are going to need shifting on sooner or later.
Yeah.
The players like Snodgrass, Yarmolenko, Zabaleta, just to name a few. They've got to be moved along. Like Snodgrass, brilliant, and he's probably could still do another season for us. But we're going to need to prove that to then, bring our age, because we've got one of the highest average age in our squads in the whole Premier League. So we need to bring in definitely some youth players.
And it's one of those things too, where do you look at Yarmolenko? Do you look at Antonio, as we talked about before? Do you look at Snodgrass as those potential players to unload right now, especially to those bottom three teams or even into the championship, some of the top clubs that are trying to push for promotion back into the Premier League side? Do you unload some of these players, hope for, across the couple of them? We're never going to get back we paid 30 mil for Yarmo.
Yeah.
So 20 mil, something like that. So, I mean, we're never going to get that type of money back. But if you can get 10, 15 for him, if you can get another 10 to 15 for Antonio, you could probably get 5 to 8 probably for Snodgrass. I mean, if you could pad that to get us pretty close to 50 mil that we could turn around and spend on younger players, I mean, isn't that worth it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree. Definitely agree there, Liam. Anything else you want to chat about?
Oh, man, I was trying to think.
What do you think of the upcoming game?
I was about to say, let's talk about Everton. So I think Moyes is going to go. He's going to go heavy for the win on this one because it's his former club. He's going to want to come in guns blazing. I do think that we need to. I mean, we took the loss to them earlier this season, so I think we do need to get those dropped points back. And I think, especially for this Everton side, they don't show well for me. Like any of the highlights that I've watched or any of the pieces of the games that I watched for them, I'm not impressed. This isn't a team that we should struggle against. Now, saying that, we probably will. So, I mean, unfortunately, I think I've just jinxed us. But, I think this is absolutely a team that we can nick points off of, and it needs to be 3. We cannot hope for teams like I think it was Bournemouth just saved us from dropping back into the relegation by putting a win up. So, I mean, we need those points. We need those points. We need them now. I do not want to play fast and loose, down to the end of the season where we're waiting on other results to see whether or not we get the drop.
Yeah, totally. And, just looking at our Premiership table, it's not looking pretty for us. Watford are on the rise. They're doing really well since they've changed their manager. You can imagine at Bournemouth when they start getting their injured players back,
they'll climb.
They climb very quick. Villa 1 point behind us. It does say that we've got a game in hand, but that game in hand is against Liverpool, so there's no chance we're going to win that. So it's not looking pretty for West Ham.
No. And I'm trying to see. I mean, you look at it, it's like Southampton's the only one that has had a good run recently.
And sorry, I buffered out then for a sec.
No, you're good. I was saying if you look at like all the way up to 12, look at Southampton's the only one that's had like a really good run of form. For this last stretch. I mean, like you said, like Watford, obviously they took the recent loss, but before that they had a decent run. Burnley didn't look good until this last match. So I mean, there's definitely teams to be jumped. There's definitely teams that we can move ahead of. It's just, it's getting the points at home, getting the draw on the road. That's ultimately what it needs to be. I mean, with the top clubs, like, yeah, when Liverpool comes to us, we're going to have to hope for a draw, expect a loss, but, hope to get out of there with a point.
Yeah. If you look at 12th, that's 6-point gap. That's 2 wins. And
Easy.
we're back up there. But the same with that is, a couple of more losses. That top 12 is going to be getting away from us.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be able to claim that back. And then it's going to be a fight from 13th or even 14th all the way down. Who's going to get relegated? And we're going to be amongst that. And that's not where we need to be right now. If we get anywhere near relegated next season, it's going to be a shit show, basically.
Yeah, well, and this was not what the board promised us, right? Like, we were told we were going to be European football, we were going to be top 7, top 6. I mean, this was the reason for the appointment of Pellegrini. This was the reason they were spending $100 million in the summer transfer window. So we're not seeing the results on the field. I mean, this is getting redundant. It's been 10 years on from the board. Obviously, the initial point of the show was to have Paul Colburn on Bubbles on to talk about Hammers United and the protest that's going on. Is it the 28th? No, sorry, it's the 18th, because on January 19th will be the 10-year anniversary that Gold, Sullivan, and Brady have been in charge of this club. So, I as much as I hate to say it, I think we need to have more protests. We need to let the board know that we're sick of it. We're sick of them telling us, they're pissing in our face and telling us it's rain. Like, it's just it's gone too far. We need to see that change. We're not seeing it so far in the transfer window. By the time it closes, if we do not see that injection of talent, that injection of youth, I mean, it's going to be tits up for us at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. And the Everton game is huge for us. We need, as Cromie says, we need to win that. We've got to get points on the board. I did see that Ken Hammer said that Villa are down 3-0, but they're playing Man City.
So big surprise.
Hopefully, there's a couple of my players in the dream team that score some goals, which would be good. What do you reckon to the transfer wind? Do you reckon we could or should even go for Jack Butland?
I mean, I love his last name. I think that's hilarious. But I think that it might be good. I mean, he's been at Stoke for a couple of years. He's still relatively young, especially as far as keepers go, because you have some keepers that play all the way up into their 40s. So, I mean, I think it might be good. But when you really think about Jack Butland, do you put him on the same level that you put Lucas Fabianski? I don't. No. You know what I mean? No. It was like when we brought Joe Hart in and we thought that he was going to compete with Adrian for minutes. And it was like, you've got Joe Hart at absolutely the tail end of his career. He wasn't even getting minutes with like the English national team at that point. So, I think we've struggled to bring in keepers that have been quality, let's say. I think Fabianski was a diamond, that was absolutely a diamond in the rough for us. But, like I said before, I think we need to be challenging Fabianski for first team minutes, and I don't know if Jack Butland does that. So, I mean, I like him as a keeper, but maybe not for us, not for right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Anything else you'd like to discuss, buddy?
No, man. I think we're closing down an hour here. I think we've turned this into quite the show. So thank you for being patient with me and still chatting with me and going through the buffering and interruptions.
So an hour later, we've got a good one. So
I like it. Hey, man, this has been awesome. You know me, Ray. I always have a blast talking with you. So this is
same as
I was surprised 30 minutes in we didn't start talking about Star Wars and Marvel and all that. So maybe the next time you and I will do that on the next time.
Yeah, definitely. We have to do a different show for that. Definitely.
I dig it.
Well, thanks for everyone in the chat. Thanks for all your questions and all your pits in the wall. Definitely go to our new website. Don't forget to watch or listen to Liam on his radio podcast, which is absolutely amazing. So well done, Liam, and your team there. Last thing to say is come on your words.
Come on, you Irons.
I swear, ending